Big OMTG.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Welcome to the OMTG show. This is Wednesday, September 11th, 2013. And on this 12th anniversary of 9/11, let's create. And to honor the lives of those who perished that day, let's give back to the world and embrace our authentic self. So welcome to the show. And as you may know, for those of you who've already tuned in before, welcome back. For those of you who are visiting us for the first time, welcome so much. Thank you for joining our studio audience this evening. Our regulars are so lovely, so lovely. And as you know, I have special powers, and I have this ability of being able to tell when our guests are going to arrive. And I have a feeling. I think that just might be our opening sidekick. Let's go to the door and see if that's him. Oh my goodness! It's our Columbus, Ohio, our favorite chemist from Columbus, Ohio, Ted Mayberry. Hi, Ted.
Well, hello. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm good. You know, I had this feeling that you were just right outside the studio door, and I just think because we have that connection, you know, I have to after we're 36 plus years. Ted, are you still there? Hello? Ted? Ted? What happened? Oh. I think he's a little shy. We have to bring him back on. Let's see. I'll bring on our show producer. This is Christopher Taylor. Hi, Chris. Okay, I think that I need to call back in, so I'm going to do that. Hold on, everybody.
Honey, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, well, thank you
for
kicking me out the door. I'm back in now, yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes, and ladies and gentlemen, that was real-life radio drama right there. We wanted to create some real tension. Because I'm like, how many years have we been friends? And 36 plus years, and Ted went running, doing a silent scream, as you would know. A silent scream, not an actual scream, because if he were to actually scream, it might sound like this. But Ted's real scream sounds like this. Let's be honest, Ted. Let's be honest. Now, I think the reason you ran back down to your car is because you forgot your traditional gift that you're supposed to bring for the host. And what did you run down to the car and bring back up for me?
Well, I can't really say on the air, but it's big,
yeah.
It's beautiful, and you're going to love it.
Oh, I think I know his name. Anyway, but we'll talk about that off the air. So thank you so much. You know what? And my audience they think you're so lovely, and they're so glad that you're back. And yeah, I see that you brought some of your friends and your family with you. Just to remind those who are tuning in, our guest sidekick, not psychic, although Ted does have powers. He does have a photographic memory, so be careful what you say to him. So he is our favorite Columbus, Ohio chemist, like I said, who is from Columbus, Ohio, and he was on our show as our featured guest on August 28th when we talked about his challenges with addiction and with depression. And you were also diagnosed, is it bipolar?
Yes, bipolar.
Nothing like
2,
jumping right into it, right, Ted?
I guess so.
Nothing like eating a bowl of cereal. Yeah. Nothing like eating a bowl of cereal.
Bipolar.
Bipolar.
Bipolar 2. There is a difference.
Oh, Bipolar 2. The sequel?
Yes.
Oh.
That's the sequel, yes.
Did it
with my mother.
Bipolar 1 was your mom. Okay, how did she open at the box office when Bipolar 1 came out?
Well, she died a broke, somewhat happy woman, so that tells you.
She had quite a story, your mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, quite a story. Yes.
Quite a story, and I loved her. Norma was. She was quite a character. She was a lovely. She loved you kids, and I know. I mean, I was blessed to see a lot of changes in your life over the years when it came to family. And I just belched on the air.
I thought that's what it was, but I was.
I'm like, really? I have no class. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from Canton, Ohio. Well, I do have class. It's lower, but it's class nonetheless.
Enough said. Enough said. Right.
Well, because part of your bio, as we read last week, was your lovely diatribe on your love for Canton, your innate adoration and just adulation for that wonderful town in the Midwest, which is not
that
really
love lives on.
I know. But, like I said, we talked about some really heavy things, and I thought who better to have a gut-level conversation about things, topics so personal than with your childhood best friend for over 36 years. And now, when I say that, don't run to your car again. Are you still there?
Hello, I am actually going outside. But...
Oh, you are? Oh, wait a minute. Are you? Now, you realize this is a real studio that we're talking about. This is not a pretend studio. Because we don't want our audience and our people listening in to think that we're not real.
Well, we have wireless microphones.
Well, thanks to Ted's generous donation to the studio, we do now have wireless microphones. Boy,
they are wireless.
They are wireless microphones, and we are in for quite a night if that's the way my mouth's going to work. Okay, now I have a question for you, honey.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind, because it was just a couple of weeks ago that we had, I thought it was an amazing conversation and very revealing, and I was just really impressed with how much you were able to open up and share with not just me, even though we were having a personal conversation. It was actually open to whoever was tuning in. What kind of reactions have you gotten from friends or family who may have tuned into the show or that you talked to about the show that you did on August 28th?
Well, it was an amazing show of support. I had several former high school classmates that had sent me messages and said, wow, I didn't realize that you had that story behind you, because, the first story that they jumped to was that, I just ran off and, I got sick and I died or something to that effect. But they were just really surprised that I did have such an amazing story. And they said it was uplifting for them, because at times they felt like their stories really paled in comparison to other people. But when they heard me, they said, wow, I can't believe that you've actually done all that in your lifetime. I mean, back and forth in San Diego a couple times and, everything else in between. So that, and I had, coincidentally, I had a family reunion in Canton last week that I attended. And boy, was that a treat, as always.
Well, that's... And Canton's such a great vacation land as well.
Yes, that was my staycation this year. It was a family reunion. Mm-hmm. We have it every year, the day before Labor Day. So it's always planned that year. But it's always interesting to see what kinds of things are still going on in the family and the dynamics of it all. And it really doesn't change. It really doesn't change.
No.
Getting back to the other one other person that in my family that actually listened was one of my nieces, one of my oldest sister's nieces, and she just said, "Wow, Uncle Teddy." That's really odd to hear, even to this day. Wow, Uncle Teddy, I couldn't believe that you disclosed so much on the air to all those thousands of people. I'm like, well, we hope it was thousands of people, and then it just kind of hit me at that point.
Yeah. Well, each one of our audience members, we multiply them by 10.
So we have.
Yeah. So there's 10 people there actually.
So we have 100,000.
Hundreds of thousands, and then
listeners.
Yeah, we're never really good at math. Well, I wasn't, but you were. But we'll say thousands and thousands. That's our goal. Absolutely our goal. So that's great that you had some family and friends listen in, and your niece. How long was? What was that conversation like for you, for her?
It was sort of uncomfortable because I had never disclosed to really anybody in the family besides my youngest sister all of the things that had transpired over my years since high school graduation, and she just said she felt like she knew me that much better. And I felt a bit of embarrassment at first because, she's my family, and she hadn't known half of the things that I actually disclosed on the air. So it was refreshing. It felt like I was coming out again. Yay!
Yeah, you know what? I tell you, and it's helpful for her. It's helpful for your family to know, because sometimes when they're that age, she a teenager?
She is my oldest sister's youngest, so she is 23 or 24. Oh, God help me if she's listening tonight.
Really?
She'll kill me. Her wedding's in the middle of October. So
now was she the preemie that I held that was like,
yes.
It could fit into my two hands when I held her?
That was the one.
If she's listening, Lauren, I held you when literally you were like the smallest baby I'd ever seen in my life, and I was looking at Lauren. And Lauren, if you're listening, I was looking at you like, oh my goodness, so precious. Like, is this real? I mean, it's just, she was so tiny. It was just a miracle. And now she's going to get married. I think that's just wonderful, Ted. And and for her, sometimes for our younger, like when we were kids, we looked at, our parents perhaps at times at some point in our lives, or some of our older family members, aunts and uncles. They have a certain level of hierarchy. They're kind of up there, and we look up to them, and we maybe put them on a pedestal, and we don't expect them to be, fallible. And to get that kind of story, that's going to help her, because, when she needs strength, and when she has a time when maybe she makes some choices that maybe aren't the healthiest for her or is about to, perhaps she'll think about your story or reach out to you, and that will help her to make healthier choices.
I really do think it opened up her eyes, because my older sister, her mother has struggled with her own addictions, and she unfortunately had to do some time for some bad decisions that she made, and hopefully that will open up her eyes to, like you said, let her know that her parents or grandparents, they're not so fallible. They are just as infallible as anybody else, and hopefully she was able to see that, because she does hold her mother up on a high pedestal, and sometimes that's really hard for for anybody to have those expectations to live up to. So I think it really.
Yeah, because we do. There's, whether it's a fantasy or not, whatever you want to call it, we kind of, at least at some period in our lives, look up to our parents and want them to be superheroes and be perfect and be men and women of steel and not have any faults. But they're human like everybody else, and so I think what you shared was a very human moment, and I really appreciate that. And I know I got a call. I had a conversation with one of our fellow high school classmates, Jennifer. I won't say the last name, just to keep a little bit of anonymity.
We know who she is.
Yeah, exactly, and she's lovely. And, she really appreciated that. She thought the whole show was, it felt like it was about friendship. And I thought, you're right, it was about friendship and the various levels of friendships that we have in our lives. Some people are with us for a week, a month, a year, some a lifetime. And for you and I, we're lifetime friends, and it's really comforting to know that we have that. I want to ask you, besides the reactions that you got from family and friends, how did our conversation, how has that particular evening, how has that affected you in the 2 weeks since? What have you noticed about yourself that is different?
I have noticed that because I actually went through that, and I was kind of, the show was kind of behind the curtains for me, so I had my my defense wall, my walls were built up and the curtains were around me, but now that I actually did that, made that confession on the air, I've been able to talk to my manager at work about these things that have been plaguing me, and I've been unable to talk about it. It just seems like that, I'm a little more willing to step out of my comfort zone with those few people that I felt it was important for them to know the things that I struggled with. So that has definitely helped me. I mean, it was a story that needed to be told. And usually I do that up in front of a room of 20, 30, 40 people, and I'm scared stiff. So it made it a little easier for me to be able to open up to those other people that are important in my life too. So it definitely was something that I needed and helped me out a great deal.
Well, again, our audience is so lovely and so supportive. I agree with them. I mean, that's I applaud you. And I would say that instead of that really heavy stage curtain like you see on Broadway that you had surrounded yourself with. You have more of a beaded curtain now.
Oh,
something that you can easily
fabulous.
part and come back and forth, and it's a little more see-through and a little more available. So I mean, that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty exciting.
And speaking of that beaded curtain, I think that was definitely in front of me. I mean, speaking of, since the show is, partly about family and issues and how they have heard about and dealt with our addictions, I actually spoke with my father for the first time over several months, and let me tell you, he was really frail. He's battling a really bad bacterial infection that he got in a hospital after a surgery, and just seeing him that weak and in that condition, I really was feeling for him for the first time ever in my life. I was really feeling for him, and I felt like I needed to say some things to him that really I had never been able to say because of that curtain that was always in front of me, not the beaded curtain as you referenced, but it was very enlightening. I think that just me being on that episode a few weeks ago, I think the best thing I got out of it was being able to speak to my father about those issues that have been plaguing me all these years, and it finally dawned on me that there was a lot of forgiveness that that I was finally able to do when it came to my father, and that was very refreshing. And he hugged me and said, "I love you," and that I almost didn't know how to respond. When I'm in a setting like that, a one-to-one, one-on-one, I very rarely will get speechless. I usually will defend myself or I'll start talking on a different tangent. But at that very moment when he said that and he hugged me, that really told me that was something that needed to happen. We had to have that conversation.
Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, that, because that we both have similar paths in terms of how we've dealt with family in some ways. And my father, same deal. I went through an illness, survived throat cancer, had a tumor that was attached to the back of his tongue that was slowly growing and was going to choke him to death. And that whole experience, I think, for the first time in his life, just really kind of shook him to his foundation. And now when we have a conversation on the phone, he says, "I love you too," and he would never say that.
And just knowing you all these years, MTG, and your father and mother were always so much nicer to me when I came over and treated me more like I thought a family member should be treated. And I always felt so awful because of that. At times, they acted as though you weren't there or you were just somebody that was boarding in their house. Now, I'm not saying that.
I was. They made me pay rent. I just never told you.
Now I see how they were.
Now it's clear, the writing's on the wall. Yeah. That's funny, but, that's not unusual. I mean, so many people, you hear, people are great with everybody else's kids, and they're nicer to everybody else's kids, and they're weird. They don't know how to be cool to their own and open and the same loving. But I give my parents credit for that. They were always really lovely lovely doesn't really describe my parents. But anyway, they were always kind and welcoming, I should say. And not to say that they're not lovely people, but that's just doesn't quite fit them. But welcoming and to anybody who came in the house, they were courteous in that respect. And so, I was very happy for that. But I look back over the years, and I was always going to other people's homes. I never really had people stay over. But some of my favorite memories are just going to your house and staying overnight, and we have so many great memories together. So it's really great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. I love you with all my heart.
And I do the same.
Girl, it's true, okay? Word
When you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up.
I know that's also a sound cue for one of our segments, but, it's okay. It just felt right in the moment. Now, I have to ask you, is there anything else that you'd like to add to our discussion about your experiences with addiction, depression, and bipolar affective disorder 2, the sequel?
Yes. Well, it has really opened my eyes, and as you had mentioned, you made reference to realizing that our parents, our relatives, whoever they might have been, however distant or close, that they're infallible, and it helps you be a little more forgiving once you're able to share that story with them regardless of how they take it. But then you start to realize at the same time, they have struggled with their own issues, whether it be addictions or violence, whatever
Sure.
the case is. It helps you realize how much they actually did for you and sacrificed for you that you may not have wanted to admit before. So that was definitely a cornerstone of that conversation. After we had it on the air for all those tens of thousands of people, and it all came to light.
It's reverberating. Yeah, absolutely. And I do think when we embrace our own faults, our own imperfections, when we embrace those as well as we do the things about us that are fabulous, it's when we are able to open ourselves to the empathetic, those moments when we can feel for others. Yes, I'm highly educated. Empaths. Yeah, when we can show empathy towards others, like you did with your father, and I do, I do with my dad, because I look at my dad who worked from the time he was a kid. His mom and dad divorced when he was very young. He had a younger brother that died at the age of 10 that had cerebral palsy, and he was buried in the pauper cemetery. That's how poor his family was at the time. And we went to grade school across from that cemetery where my uncle is buried, and he's on an unmarked grave. And my dad's mom died at 47 of a massive heart attack. She was an alcoholic, and we're 47, or I'm 47.
And that's hard for you to realize until you actually do open your mind a little bit and invite some forgiveness into your life, and you realize at that point you're never going to get past it until A, you realize what your own faults are and you admit them, and then B, that they are not unlike you.
They're not the evil, awful people that you think they are. The people that you hated when you were 14.
Right.
So we do grow, we do change, and I'm glad that we're at a place in our lives that while we, and you realize that about your mom. You had a good relationship with your mom, so I'm glad. I'm thrilled that you were able to be close with her and have a good. That you knew that there was a mutual love there before she passed, and that you were able to have a moment recently with your dad while he's still with us. And I think we're lucky. Not everybody gets that, and we don't want to live a life filled with regrets. There are always going to be things that we want to do and wish we had done, but with our parents, if we can resolve whatever issues we might have, I think it's important at some time. And in due time,
it helps both parties involved. It helps you,
absolutely.
And it helps your family, and that's the end goal. That is the end goal.
Absolutely, it's a benefit for everybody. So now we're ready for.
When you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the call
word. Okay, now we're ready for Word Up. Ted Mayberry, this is a word-mind association game where I'll say a word, name, or phrase, and ask our favorite Columbus, Ohio chemist to say the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Oh, Lord, help me keep this as PG as possible. Okay.
It is PG. This is PG. It fits in. But you never know, because my mind veers off to the left or the right or north or south at a moment's notice. Trust.
Friendship.
Oh. What's friendship mean to you? What's trust and friendship? Why are those words? Why are trust? Don't you clam up on me? No. Why does right? Why do you think trust and friendship? Why are those two words connected for you?
You have to trust somebody that person, such as MTG, will be there no matter what. Trust, friendship, and dependability. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. Those three words go hand in hand for me. You're somebody, and any other really good friends in my life, not as good as you, of course, but I know that
you are. I tell you, you are like right up there at the top. The audience is just like they're giving you 10s tonight, all 10s, even the Swedish judge.
Oh, this is bad.
Yep. You're gonna win. You're gonna win.
The dependability factor. I always tell anybody that I'm becoming close, that I've befriended and that I've built a friendship with. I want to have a friend that can depend on me as much as I depend on them,
Right.
And if it doesn't work both ways, and you don't trust each other enough to say that they can depend on you and that you can depend on them, then it's, those friendships are only temporary to me.
Wow.
I have lost some people in my life that I felt I couldn't depend on even as much as they depended on me as of recently. And it wasn't difficult for me to see that. So trust, friendship, and dependability, they all go hand in hand.
I have a feeling, Ted, that's very good. I love that. I have a feeling that our featured guest is just about coming down the street and is going to be pulling into the drive-in parking. I left a spot available for him. Hopefully he sees the orange cones that are out there where he can park his car, and then he'll come up to the studio. So we've got just a couple of minutes left. So I'm going to do one more word, and then we're going to go into our Shits and Giggles segment. Okay? So your last word in our Word Up segment is regret.
Don't have any.
Oh, now why would you say that?
Don't have any. Some people might look at regrets as something as simple as, I made a bad decision. That to me is not a regret. A regret is something that I honestly, to this day, don't feel about anything awful or tawdry that I have done. They were decisions that I made. I going into it, I might have said I might regret this, but who knows? Let's throw caution to the wind. I'm taking that leap of faith, and I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, if you regret something, you're beating yourself up for it. Turn that regret into something that just more means like a bad decision.
And can I just say that we should never, ever, and I'm sure that when our featured guest tonight, the lovely and just Chris-Lavoie, when Chris-Lavoie comes on, he's going to agree with this, I'm sure, that never regret a tawdry moment. Never.
No.
Never regret a tawdry moment. It just sounds good. Tawdry. I was tawdry, so I would say that's very, very good. I'm glad you have no regrets of your tawdry moments. Now we are ready, Ted, because, some of our segues are very magical. Very, very magical. And this is our Shits and Giggles, or craps that make you... Craps. I swear I know we talked about addiction. I have not been drinking. I promise you, I have not been drinking. Now, Shits and Giggles, or crap that makes you laugh, are those slice of life moments that happen all around us. Now, this is from ChicagoTribune.com. It's from Reuters news source, and this happened just over the weekend in Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, Arkansas. That is in the United States, for those of you who need to look on a map. Okay. Now, I'm not making any of this up, so listen, Ted, and tell me what you think of this. A 107-year-old man was killed in a shootout with a police SWAT team at a home in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where he had earlier threatened two people with a gun, authorities said on Sunday, September 8th. The fatal shots were fired on Saturday night after Pine Bluff police responded to a report that the man, Monroe Isidore, pointed a gun at two people in the home in Pine Bluff, a city of roughly 47,999 people, about 45 miles south of Little Rock. I added that other part, according to the police who confirmed local TV reports. Now, when police arrived at the home on Saturday afternoon, they removed the two people from the house and then returned again to begin negotiations. Again, remember, he's 107. Isidore then shot at them through the door, according to the reports confirmed by police. No officers were struck, and police called for backup. Again, he's 107. 107. Yeah, Monroe Isidore, 107. He was born when Theodore Roosevelt was president. Now, the police called for backup, including a special weapons and tactics unit. Negotiations were started, and with a 107-year-old man, and SWAT officers inserted a camera into the room where Isidore was holed up. Officers saw that Isidore had a handgun, according to the reports confirmed by police. You'd think he would have had a cannon. Now, when negotiations failed, SWAT officers threw gas into the room. A 107-year-old man. Isidore fired, and officers entered the room. When Isidore shot at them again, wow. The officers returned fire, killing Isidore, according to the reports confirmed by police. Now, police said the coroner confirmed Isidore's age as 107. No officers were injured in the incident, which is under investigation, a Pine Bluff police spokesman said. Wow. Wow. I'm not making light of that, but really, how often? How often do you hear of a... Please. You know, Ted, I have a feeling. I have a feeling that somebody is just outside of the door. Let's see. Is it? And no, Ted, I want you to stick around just for a minute because I know you're a big fan of his, and he'll be excited to get a special welcome. Chris, is that you?
It is me. How are you?
Oh my! Chris-Lavoie. How are you?
Michael Louise Gray.
Oh my God! Well, Chris, we have to give you a proper welcome. So let's start off with a little song.
Now I'm walking on sunshine. I'm walking on sunshine. I'm walking on sunshine. And it feels good.
No, that
song sounds a little bit familiar.
It's a little bit familiar. Yeah, you probably remember the first time that you had to go grab that song. Did you choose that, or was that your choice?
It was a combination between Stephanie and me. Up until President Obama was elected the first time, we had been using We're Not Going to Take It by Twisted Sister as our theme song on the Stephanie Miller Show. And as soon as Obama won, the very next day we started using Walking on Sunshine.
I love it. And I've seen you, Chris, in person, as you know, because we go to the D-list celebrity gym in Hollywood. And
that's right. Black Pearlman is probably the biggest celebrity that goes there.
Yeah, I think Will Ferrell, too. I've seen him there.
I've seen Will Ferrell there, too. Yes.
Yeah,
yes, you're right.
And thank God he keeps his clothes on in the gym. That's all I'm saying. But,
that is true.
Yeah. And Chris, I had to keep our opening sidekick on the show for a little bit longer, and I'll put him on hold for just a minute. But Chris, he probably wants to say hello, and he did put on some adult diapers tonight because I'm sure he's peeing his pants right now. So, Ted, you want to say something? You want to say something to Chris?
Yes, I do. So what are you wearing?
You know what? Okay, since it is my actual bedtime right now, I am just kind of wearing underwear in my bed.
Okay, now
I'm going to step away for a minute.
Okay, I'm going to put Ted. I'll let you get your breath and take a moment. I'm going to put you on hold, but stay on and listen to the show. I may bring you on from time to time just to ask Chris if he's still wearing his underwear. Okay?
Absolutely, because I won't be anymore.
Well,
oh boy! Now see what I've started.
That's started.
Oh, Ted, you want to finish that thought? What was that? What did you say? You want to finish that dirty thought?
That started a couple years ago.
All right. Well, if you okay, Ted, I'm going to put you in your corner. I know nobody puts baby in the corner, but you're going to go there anyway. So, Chris, I like to do with all my guests when I first bring them on. I don't know why I sound like I'm from Long Island now. I like to vet them properly, and so I want to go ahead and read your bio here so that our lovely audience can get an idea of just the special man that you are. Our featured guest, yes, it's true, Chris-Lavoie, was born in Pomona, California on January 13th, 1969. He was raised in Claremont, California, and Hampton, Virginia by his parents. Now, when Chris was born, his mom went, and his dad went. Now, at least some of his childhood was spent in Claremont, California, where he was a frequent customer of the Husky section at the Sears store at Indian Hill Mall in Pomona. Chris is currently and you're currently the Hunka. I added this part to it. The Hunka Burn and Love executive producer and co-host of the Stephanie Miller Show, a politically progressive talk radio program. Now, Now, the second part of your bio I'm going to do is Joan Crawford, because there's a certain part of it that will appeal to her. So in honor of Joan, here it goes. He is against any proposed legislation which tells people how to live their lives. For example, Chris-Lavoie has unwavering support for spanking young children as a form of discipline. He has very clearly stated that he is opposed to child abuse, but Stephanie and some of the show's callers ruthlessly kid him about it anyway, claiming that he is in favor of beating children. She also goes so far as to link his supposed support of child abuse to an instance where Chris accidentally bent his cat's tail in a doorway when he was at home. Now, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, and I'm sure Joan. Thank you, Joan. Thank you so much. She likes
it. Joan.
She loves it when people keep her name in the papers because she loves the attention.
Of course she does.
Now, Chris, I have to, I read those accusations, and I thought it was a little shocking because, I do think that you walk on sunshine. And you walk. And now, what do you have to say for yourself in defense of those claims in your bio regarding the strength of your character?
Oh, you know what? It's true. Now, all of that stems from a show that we did a long time ago. And I don't know, I guess my hardcore libertarian views have softened a little bit. But no, I mean, yeah, I think discipline should be, should be in the home and not, legislated by government. So
do you discipline in your home?
I have 2 cats now, and if they get out of line, yes, I do discipline them.
Now, are there any humans that you discipline in your home from time to time?
No.
No?
Not right now.
Oh,
nope.
all right. Just see if we could dig that out a little bit. Now, so you have 2 cats. Okay.
I have 2 cats now. Yep.
Yeah. Now, one of your cats has a very special name, and we kind of want to find out what's the meaning behind that cat's name. I think is it her or him? It's him, right?
His name is Jazz. My first cat's name is Jazz.
Yeah.
And he is a rescue cat. He was found he was found by himself with as a tiny little kitten with no mommy or no brothers or sisters around him. And so my aunt's sister.
That was Jazz as a kitten. Yeah. Sounded just like Chris. So that's why you connect.
Yeah, exactly. When I was born, exactly. And so my aunt's sister, who rescues animals, rescued Jazz and nursed him back to health. And one night it was Christmas Eve. I was over at their house, and she set Jazz on my shoulder, and he slept there for 2 hours. I'm like, okay, I must have him.
Oh.
So so I adopted him.
Now you don't declaw your cats, do you?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Good.
I do
That's
not.
good.
Because that actually when I
How
adopted
do you feel about
Jazz,
that?
I am not for declawing cats because it basically removes their finger up to their first knuckle. So I'm against it. I keep their claws trimmed, but I don't declaw them.
How do you feel about that? Because I think West Hollywood has banned that practice, and
yes,
I know that. Yeah. So, I know it's a fine line when we say we don't like being told how to live our lives, and I know that was part of the quote in the bio, referencing your support of child abuse. But
support of child abuse. That's what I support.
I know, right? No, have you? So, I think that's going to be a gray area. It's never going to be. You can't just apply that carte blanche. There are going to be some things that need to be regulated. And if you're an animal lover,
I agree with that.
Yeah. So now, but going back to the child abuse topic, have you raised your age limit? Because it wasn't like 4. Wasn't California trying to pass a law about under the age of 4 you can't touch your kids? I mean,
there was something like that. I think that's what caused me to go off on that. God, you know what? I don't know. I think if a parent, I was spanked as a child and I came out just fine. I'm a well-behaved adult, I think.
Yeah, well, I've seen you at parties. But, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, if you haven't caught that picture you sent me and that we posted on the site, wow. Kudos for the photographer, but, talking about giving, a great subject to take a shot of. You look fantastic, and just,
thank you.
I mean, I think I should be sitting here again.
That photo was taken by a photographer out of Chicago. His name is Pat Lee, and he does some really awesome work. And it's just to give a little plug, you can find him at patlee.net.
I love that, patlee.net. And we should, I'll have my show producer, who's also named Chris. See, I know Christopher is my nephew actually as well, and he's very, very talented. And
cool.
Both of us, are doing talk shows now, and we're deeply inspired. Listen to me. By your work and Stephanie's work, and of course your one of your colleagues there, Jim Ward, voice deity Jim Ward. You guys, I tell you, I love it. It's political conversation with fart jokes, and who doesn't like a good fart joke, right?
Exactly. Well, Stephanie and I both have backgrounds in morning zoo radio. basically.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
so,
With music?
My first
Okay.
6 years. My first 6 years in radio were producing for a country music radio station for their morning show.
Big fan?
And my first 6 years were producing for a country music morning show in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And
Are you a country music fan?
You know what? I pretty much know everything there is to know about country music from 1992 to 1997.
Wow. That's all you know? Just as... Okay, but you don't care to know anything about it after that?
No, I do like some country music, but it's not my first choice of music. But if there's a really good song by Mumford and Sons or something like that, I love it. I love a good song. I love good music.
Absolutely. Now, what led you to that particular job as your first job? Was that just like, okay, I'm putting my applications all around and this is just where I'm starting out?
Well, let's see. I was a broadcast journalism major at Arizona State, and a friend of mine was an intern at that a sales intern at that country music station, and they said, hey, the station is going to be at the Arizona State Fair. They're going to need some people to hand out bumper stickers and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I know nothing about country music, but I'll go and do it just because I love radio. And so that's how I got my foot in the door. I was a hard worker. I kind of showed up every time they needed me. And the program director noticed me and asked if I would like to do a weekend shift there. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be a DJ on the air.
Wow,
so
you got a DJ job. Wow, what was your time slot?
Let's see. My first time slot was 6 a.m. to noon on Sundays. And so basically what I would do is I would be on the air for 2 or 3 hours, I forgot what it is, and then I'd run the weekend countdown show that we would run.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And those were sent to us on CD, so I basically had to, play a CD and then play a couple of commercials and play the CD again.
Wow.
So,
and not being a country music fan necessarily, that was like, how did you pass the time?
There was a lot of stuff to do, basically. They had a
lot less automated.
It was a lot less automated back then. Now everything's almost completely automated, and so the art of the local DJ, sadly, is getting to be lost. But I was one of the last local DJs on weekends. And then they bumped me up to 2 days, to Saturday and Sunday, and then I would fill in for the morning show producer whenever he, needed time off, and then that morning show producer became the overnight guy, and so I became the morning show producer. I mean,
you guys, you radio personality that. Like Ted will attest would say this too, is that all during high school when we were getting ready for school in the morning, that was our morning radio. That was it. I loved listening to the morning DJs. In fact, I lived at WGCL.
When I was there, we became the number one morning show in Phoenix, which at the time was the number 15 market in the country, which was not that shabby. Not that shabby.
Yeah. Which they promptly replaced you with a far right-wing talk show that gets 0 ratings.
You know what, God, I don't know who is there now.
Whenever you're succeeding, if they found out, he's got a liberal view, we're going to replace you.
They knew I was liberal. And the two guys that I worked for, I still talk to them a whole lot. Even to this day, they're both conservative. They're both evangelical Christian. But they had no problem with me. So what our goal was to put on the best radio show possible for the intended audience, and that's what we got together to do every morning.
Good. Well, I would say that you, in terms of fair and balanced, if we can actually use that phrase and mean it, I would say that you are. You're a very fair and balanced individual in terms of your belief system. You do challenge people, which I think is important to challenge people to really back up what they're saying, why they believe what they're saying. You don't let people get away with stuff, but you're not belligerent about it either. So I really appreciate that. I think that's one of the things I really appreciate most, and why I continue to listen to the Stephanie Miller Show, is because you guys really do allow people to express whatever their views are,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's
dissenting views go to the front of the line, you know, but the dissenting views that tend to call into our show tend to talk in talking points, and so you know we've kind of dealt with those before, and we know what to say to kind of deflate those talking points and insert a little bit of truth in there. So you know we're well versed in that.
Yeah, well, by this time you've had plenty of experience with that. I noticed from your just deciphering some things out of your bio, and then and having some experience in seeing you personally over the last handful of years, you have battled issues with your weight during childhood, and I would say, as I have dubbed you, you are now the poster boy for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, even if you're a vegetarian, you're going to want some of this beef. I'm telling you, people. Chris is quite the catch. Now, what was the turning point for you in what I would say is a life-altering transformation, and how do you maintain your focus and your determination to stay fit?
Let's see. As for the first part, I was a chunky kid, and then I got tired of being chunky, and so I just kind of stopped eating to lose weight, which probably was the best thing. Yeah, the best thing for me to do. Well, you know, I ate, but I ate a lot less than I did before.
Okay. You didn't do the Olsen Twins diet.
No, I did not do the Olsen Twins diet.
Good.
But I probably ate a little less than was healthy. But you know, I was determined to be, you know, at least thinner, and so I got thinner. And then once I got to college, I started working out, and you know, so I've kind of been working out for since the late '80s.
Quite a while. But I mean, it seems to me that it's just like, especially over the last couple of years, you have just gotten there's a certain focus there, and it's just, you know, for those of us who battle, you know, kind of going back and forth, I see you really maintaining a really clear consistency, and that's really hard to maintain. So what balance have you found in maintaining your physical fitness? Because I really see a clear consistency over the last couple of years, especially in your fitness, and it's really impressive.
Well, what helps is that I've had the same job for the last 9 years now, and so I've had the same schedule for the last 9 years, and
that
so
helps.
You know, and so I leave work at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I immediately go to the gym. You know, it's my decompression time for after work, and you know that's what I do. I'm there for an hour, and you know, I eat cleanly on the weekdays. Yeah, pretty much the same thing every day because I'm kind of OCD like that. But then
give us an example of your OCD diet.
Okay, in the morning, let's see. Before work, I have a protein shake. At work, I have a tub of cottage cheese, a protein bar, and a banana. And then when I get home, let's see. I make a little burrito out of meat and rice. And
you make a burrito?
Yeah, and some cheese. Have that. And then
there are side effects to that diet.
Well, yeah, I don't have beans in it. I don't have beans in the burrito.
And
then for my 3 o'clock meal, I have some eggs and brown rice. And then for my 6 o'clock meal, I have these. We have a store here called Fresh and Easy, and they make some really good, healthy prepackaged meals. And so I just throw that in the microwave.
Well, that's the title of my biography.
Fresh and Easy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not
it's
fresh. Not so fresh,
and
but
so that's what I eat during the weekdays.
Yeah. Wow. That's, well, you know, it's consistency, and I'm sure. Do you have your little a spice rack that you use to kind of spice things up?
Yeah,
tahini,
absolutely.
Try the new tahini spice.
You know what? I've never had that. I've never used that.
It's a little different. You're gonna give it a shot. Yeah, try it on a little mango or something. That's great on fruit.
Ooh, yeah. In fact, I had some mango chicken tonight for dinner.
Oh, good. Yeah. So started. A friend of mine helped do the campaign, the ad campaign for that, and gave me a little before they started doing the commercials, and I tried it, and I'm like, you know, and I'm liking it. So I recommend it. Just, throw a little tahini on your diet. You know, spice it up a little.
Yeah,
now,
I'll have to try that.
You know, what are friends for?
Exactly.
Now I have to ask you. you guys started, and how long ago did you start the Sexy Liberal comedy tour? When did that kick off?
That started, 2 years ago. They did a little like teaser show in New York City, and that's when we had the Rude Pundit and John Fugelsang on, and Hal Sparks. And then, let's see, they started the national tour, last year or the year before, and I think it started in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah. In fact, it did. Now, that first show sold out pretty fast. The one in New York, did it not? From what I recall.
It did. I don't think they actually sold tickets. I think it was just a test run. I think they gave away tickets, and it was held at like NPR's like studio space or something like that.
Oh,
and
okay.
And they filmed it for a possible special or something, but nothing ever came of it. Yeah.
Well, what has been the most surprising aspect of the success of the tour?
The most surprising aspect is how successful it's been in conservative areas.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why it has been successful in conservative areas, because every conservative area in America has a group of liberals in it. You know, you're going to have some liberals mixed in, and they're surrounded by conservatives all day long, and what they crave is a place where they can go and commune with other liberals, where they can just be among other liberals and not have to worry about what they say.
They don't have to be a closet liberal.
Exactly. And, it's a big coming out party for liberals in conservative cities. And so, especially in cities like Phoenix, it was successful.
Was Jan Brewer there?
Jan Brewer was not there.
With her cold finger.
I actually went to that show because it's close, and I have quite a few friends in Phoenix, and the place was packed.
Was Rocky Mountain Mike there?
What's that?
Was Rocky Mountain Mike there?
Rocky Mountain Mike was not there. No, he. I don't know if he was in Raleigh or if he was in Denver at the time, but that was a little bit too far for him to go, I think.
How did he come about? I remember when he first started giving you guys clips, and then all of a sudden it was like, first he was, he had another name before he moved. What was his name before Rocky Mountain? He moved. It was from where he lived before that.
It was just Mike and Raleigh.
Oh, Mike and Raleigh.
Yep. It was just Mike and Raleigh. The first guy who sent us clips and different parody stuff, his name is Shano. Shano in Pittsburgh, New York. Do you remember him?
Shano. Of course, God. Blast from the past.
Exactly. Well, he has since gone on to be Tom Hartman's producer.
Oh,
and so
wow.
he moved to Washington, D.C., and so, he's busy now, and once he stopped sending us the stuff because he got too busy, Rocky Mountain Mike or Mike and Raleigh started sending us stuff.
Did you use finger quotes for Shano? He got too busy.
He got too busy. but I was really happy for him because
that's fantastic.
He would come to me for advice on how to get into radio because he's obviously talented. And he loved just being around radio people. He loved talking to me. And like, okay, this kid has it. He has what it takes. And so I did everything I could to help him out. And now he's with Tom Hartman in Washington D.C. Yeah, exactly.
That's a big part. That's a subject that comes up a lot on our show. And by a lot, this is our 6th show, so it's happened every time. We talk a lot about mentorship, and I think that's great. I could see that you have that you give back, and I think it's really important to do that.
Exactly, especially if I see a lot of myself in someone else. I was so hungry to be in radio that I had 4 different jobs at once right out of college, just because I wanted to work in radio. I had to take jobs in other things too, but I wanted to be in radio, so I had that hunger, and I saw that in Shano, and so I wanted to help him out.
Well, I see a lot of you in me as well.
Oh, yeah?
In fact, I'd like to see even more of you in me. What? Oh, my God. I'm sorry. My Ted told me to say that. So, Ted, shame on you. Ted, we're going to get back on just a second.
Shame on you, Ted.
Ted, shame on you. shame on you for suggesting that I say that, and I'm making that up and blaming you. So, Ted, what are you wearing?
Blame me for all of it. I don't care.
Oh, getting a little breathy, honey. Back to that corner. Okay. Wow. You know, and while we're talking about mentoring and things like that, my nephew, Christopher, who we'll call him Chris tonight, he wanted me to ask you, because what, and this is like, if you were a tree, what tree would you be? Well, what biggest piece of advice would you give to those who are just starting out? You know, my nephew's 25, you know, and he's been doing his own show for about a year, and he encouraged me to produce my show, and so here we are. And he wanted me to ask you how would you guide people getting into this, because things are really changing.
Things are changing, absolutely. If you wanted to get into commercial radio, you're at a real radio station, you got to be willing to start at the very bottom and do whatever they ask you to do. You know, we have people, because I work at Clear Channel in Burbank. That's our, I don't work for them, but I work at their studios. And they have, I don't know if they're interns, but they're really low, they're low-level employees who basically sit there and create transcripts. They listen to the shows and type them out as, people say them, or they'll assemble a podcast. Done? But yeah, it's still done. It's you think of an app for that would just do that and like when you're talking into your phone from voice texting, you'd think they'd be able to do that. Wow. Not really. No. Or, you have to be willing to go out and be the street team, hand out bumper stickers, be the face of the radio station. You have to, be able to interact well with people. If people, start to get a little grabby, you have to, not lose your cool with them. Right. You have to make yourself known to the higher-ups. You have to show them that you are willing to do anything to be in radio, and that will get you noticed, and, just like it did for me. Now, Christopher, I know he's in the background listening. He's like our silent producer in the background, making sure that everything stays together. So just remind him that you have to be willing to be a bottom to start start at the bottom. You have to start at the bottom. God, I hate it when I mess that one up. Start at the bottom and work your way up. Yeah. Exactly. But, and I think reliability, like you said, you got to be. What's that? Oh. Hey, Christopher. You say hello to Chris. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for that answer.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Aww.
You've changed a life, Christopher. Chris, you've changed a life.
Yeah. Which one of it?
And my nephew's been, usually you expect, the older generation to mentor the younger, but a lot of times they can teach us things. And I give a lot of kudos to my nephew for inspiring me and encouraging me to do something that I'd been talking about for quite a long time and actually do it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there's so many opportunities now with the interwebs that you can create your own content, put it out there, give yourself an opportunity to grow and learn. And then, if we're fortunate enough, we get somebody like yourself who's a seasoned pro in the business. And I cannot thank you enough for being here and sharing, just sharing of yourself, because I think you're a fabulous individual, and I just wanted to get to know you a little better and let our audience get to know you outside of just the work that you do on Stephanie Miller. So it's fun to kind of have a chat with you. Oh, you're welcome. Now, Chris, were there any, yes, because I know you're in your underwear, tighty whities or boxers? Actually, tidy blackies. Oh, tidy black. Oh, I need to take a drink of water. Hold on. I'm a big fan, and I just adore it. Now, I'm a big fan of you. Oh, you're sweet. You're sweet. You're saying that because you're on the show. That's so nice. And our studio audience, please, some of your friends in the audience, they like you. So you guys inspire. I love the sound effects. My nephew, he's threatening to take them away from me because I'm addicted to them. They're like crack. So, sometimes I threaten to take them away from Stephanie, too. Cause I know. She uses some of them quite a bit. Yeah, I know. She can. You just know her fingers on the trigger all the time. Oh, yeah. If they want gun control, that's where they need to have it, that trigger finger of hers. Exactly. Were there any particular disappointments with the Liberal Comedy Tour that you found that you can share on air?
You know what? I I was disappointed that Alec Baldwin said that he would show up twice, but never did.
Oh, was he busy yelling at somebody?
No, I don't know what he was doing. He and Stephanie, I guess, had this back and forth with email, and he promised to be at the New York show, and then he didn't show up, and he felt really bad about that. And then he promised to be at the D.C. show during the inauguration, and when we got there, there was a gigantic bouquet of flowers from him saying he apologized but couldn't be there again. So we're like, okay, yeah, whatever.
You know what? I think I know the root of the problem, why he's not showing up. I think Stephanie doesn't like his Shveddy balls.
His Shveddy balls.
Yeah. I don't think she's a big fan of his Shveddy balls. So I don't think they're getting anywhere near that mouth. So no, not anytime soon. But maybe Roland's.
Yeah. Oh God, Roland's balls.
Who likes? Yeah. Boy, wasn't that the topic of discussion for quite a while? I'm like, wow. I wonder how he feels about that.
Well, we should probably reset that. They were at Canyon Ranch or something, sharing a. Roland is the executive producer of the Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour. And they were at Canyon Ranch on vacation, sharing a room for some reason. And he was sitting in a bathrobe.
$5 show.
What's that?
Because you've got a budget of like, what, $5 for the show?
Yeah, exactly. And he was sitting there with his bathrobe half open, and he wasn't wearing underwear, and so Stephanie caught a glimpse of his balls. And she mentioned this on the air, and it kind of blew up. I mean, someone opened a Twitter account called Roland's Balls. And Roland's Balls started tweeting. It was the strangest thing.
When Roland's Balls tweet, what do they say? What does it sound like? If there's nobody in the room, do they make a noise?
I can't remember what Roland's Balls tweeted. But
I don't know.
It just became a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that when she saw them, she was like, or maybe she applauded.
Yes.
Maybe she applauded.
Well,
I don't know.
She hasn't seen balls in years.
Did she know what they were?
Yeah, she knew what they were because she has seen them, but she hasn't seen them in years.
Okay, it was like an immediate recall, so I'm sure it was just took her right back to that moment. So now, speaking of tweets and people creating just these special kinds of sites that we can all laugh at, I was wondering, now, how do you find? All of a sudden, I'm a blubbering idiot. Now, how do you find the insane website links that you post on this site? Like O'Reilly sucks, and the 14 points of fascism, and God hates shrimp, and cats that look like Hitler. Are these? I mean,
most of those come from listener suggestions. They say you need to check this out. And so that's where those come from. We haven't updated that in a really long time though. You really poked around the Stephanie Miller website, didn't you?
Well, I was poking and prodding. But my favorite is men who look like old lesbians. Or what I call a weekend in Palm Springs.
And you know who's front and center on that website? Bruce Jenner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Do you think
now he looks like an old lesbian?
Yeah, he does. Now, do you think he and Chris have sex?
I don't even want to think about it.
Really?
I don't want to think about it.
I don't know. I mean, she looks. He doesn't look like a man anymore.
No.
Men don't do well. I mean, sometimes women go really, really far with their plastic surgery, but men sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah, he went really far. Yeah, he and Kenny Rogers both look like they're trapped in a permanent windstorm.
Yeah, that's just. And have you seen Dolly Parton lately? Speaking of Kenny, it's just. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Still looks like herself. Kenny came out. I guess it was on American Idol or something like that, and nobody knew who he was.
Like, who is that?
Yeah,
they probably thought he was Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, something
and they
like
have
that.
A cat like.
the website cats that look like Wilford Brimley.
Yes. That's one of your favorites,
Yes.
I think that's one I like. I wanted to include one of the ones that you like the most. Now, but getting on a more personal level, Chris, because that's what we're about. We're about reaching out and knowing that you're sitting there in your underwear, in your bed. What's the thread count of your sheets?
Oh God, you know what? It's not that high.
Really?
350,
What?
4, yeah, something
See?
like that maybe.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
this conversation's over. Now that really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then
It's
if you,
that gene.
that's not a good. That's not good. No, they need to at least be 800, if not 1,200.
Oh my God, that's too high. That's too luxurious.
Oh no, that if you buy them from the, I think it's La Brea and Beverly or Melrose, there's a gas station and the guy has a little tent set up, and you can get them for like $20 or $40 back. I think
Wow.
the 800 thread counts are like $40. So that's not too much.
Okay,
Then when you
you're
take
right,
a
that
really
is too much.
bed, yeah, you might slide right across. So make sure that you have something to hold on to.
Okay.
Okay. You really.
I will.
Got to raise the thread count on those, especially if you're wearing those really attractive tidy blackies. You know.
Yeah,
Now are you
blackies.
are you on top of the sheet? Or are you slightly draping it over you right now?
No, I'm on top of the sheet because it's a warm evening and I have my 2 cats around me.
Oh, okay. Are they helping? Are they coaching you?
Yeah. They started to wrestle a little bit ago. I don't know if you heard them meowing, but now they're separated and they're just kind of sitting here.
Well, I thought it could have been you. Could have been that burrito from earlier, but it was okay. Now, tell me, Chris.
Yes.
Through the laughter, what are your passion projects, or some of the items on your personal bucket list? This is our Barbara Walters moment that you plan on doing over the next year, 5 or 10 years. What's on your list of to-dos that you want to do? Because then you've been on this Everything show for what?
Travel.
Travel.
Yes. This week I am getting my very first passport. I've never had a passport.
You've never had a
before.
passport?
Never had a passport.
Chris-Lavoie, and I get to say that again. I cannot believe you've never had a passport. So you're going to go somewhere other than San Diego or San Francisco?
Yes, exactly. The only place off the continent I've been is Hawaii.
Oh, really?
And the only place out of the country I've been is Puerto Penasco, Mexico, and Tijuana, Mexico.
That doesn't count.
I know. But
because you don't need
to use different money there. That counts.
Oh, really? You know, I have to tell you, I think I was with Ted. Hold on, let's get Ted back here just for a second.
Well, hello, honey.
Hi. No, honey, was I with you when the first time I ever went to Mexico? I think I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went with these 2 rather attractive. Well, one was more cute than the other, but anyway, that's beside the point. We were in Tijuana, and we were coming back, and it was the first time in my life, Chris and Ted, that I felt like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm an American. I can't wait to get over the border. I was scared because they stopped our car and they were like kind of interrogating us, and I was like, we're never getting back. We're going to be disappeared. And thank God, Ted, who with his photographic memory spoke Spanish.
Oh, okay. That helps.
Yeah, me the smart one in high school. What did I take, not knowing that I was going to go to California? I took French. That wasn't going to help me.
I took French as well. No, because it's the language of my people.
Oh, that's right. Chris-Lavoie. Lavoie.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very French. And I remember that, Ted. Remember that moment? I literally was sweating like bullets. And Ted, like, I don't know what he was saying, but he's speaking Spanish like fluently, and I'm like, wow, thank God, because I thought if somebody had not spoken Spanish in that car, we'd have been gone. So
was this in prison?
Was this going into Mexico or coming out of Mexico?
Coming back out. It was leaving because we'd gone down to a bar in Tijuana, and we were kind of schnockered, I think, at the time. And
you think?
the person who was driving the car was not that I recall. And I was just like, thank God. But yeah, coming over the border, that was like, whew, Lord. All right, Ted, back to your corner. Yeah. So wow. You've been you're a world traveler. So now that when you get your passport, and that will be a moment, and there will be angel singing. Where's your first destination?
I'm planning on going to Cabo San Lucas, actually, Mexico.
Really? You're really branching out.
I know. At least it's deeper into the country, though. It's not in the border zone.
That's good. Be careful, though. Be careful there. Now, beyond that, what are some of the places that you want to travel to beyond that?
My 3 places that I would like to travel before I die are Tokyo, Sydney, and Rio.
Tokyo, Sydney. I've always wanted to go to Australia. It's one of my fantasy places to go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So those are good. So no, you know what? If you've never been, then you've never been on a cruise. Have you? No, that would be right.
I've never gone on a cruise. You're right.
You got to take one of those Mediterranean cruises. I think you'll like it. You'll enjoy it.
That's what I've heard. A good friend of mine was just in Mykonos and Rome. 1 week in Rome, 1 week in Mykonos, and he had a great time. So
you got to do one of those. It's so much fun. When I did it for my 40th, which is hard to believe because I'm not even 40. Yeah, right. Charo was one of our entertainers on the boat.
Wow.
And,
okay.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Have you ever heard her play her flamenco guitar?
Okay, it's funny. I live in a condo building, and the computer I sit at is right near our balcony. My balcony.
Yes.
And I was looking at the condo right across the courtyard from me, and who was sitting there but Charo?
Oh, are you kidding me?
Inside the apartment building. Apparently, the guy across the courtyard is a music producer, and she was laying down some tracks, and so I did hear her flamenco guitar.
And how long ago was this?
This was, oh God. Well, I've only been in this place since January, so it's been within the last 6 months. Yeah.
It's kismet that I should bring up Charo in this conversation, and that
and an ex of mine was her manager for a little while.
That is amazing. No, she was my favorite because Deborah Cox was one of the other entertainers, and she was kind of snarky, not really. I don't know, maybe she was having a bad time. She had some young kids there, so she was being a mom and balancing all that. So I'll cut her some slack. But Charo was just so lovely, and when she came on stage, and she's like, I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering, how old is this bitch? That was her opening line. And she asked us. She goes, she asked us for permission to play her guitar, and it was unbelievable. And she rehearses like 5-6 hours a day. I mean, she's like every day. She's always as adamant as you are.
She was nominated for a Grammy for guitar playing in like the late '60s, early '70s.
I think I'll have to go back and look to see if she was nominated for that one too. But she did. She got permission from the family who owns the rights to Bolero, and she's very. She did that was on one of her last, and I bought that CD on the ship. It's just fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was fun that you saw that. Oh wow. Yeah. So now when you do this cruise, and you go to Mykonos, but you will, don't spend the day on the beach. That's what we did, and I regret that. I'm like, really? We could do that in California. But that was the only time. You want to do all the excursions and things like that, and you'll go to Santorini and Athens, and it's just, you'll have a great time. So I'm excited for you that you're getting your passport. I think that's really good. Yeah. That's going to be soon, right?
It's got to be really soon if I'm going to be going to Cabo San Lucas in late November. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, now we're going to do a little magical segue, and when we do our segue, we're going to do, let me see, I'm here at the board. I don't have, there we go. I don't have your magic fingertips to bring these things up. So we're going to segue into chapter 12 here, and this is a short little chapter, but it's just, share with us, what is the current title of your life chapter? I know you're getting your passport, so that's going to open up a whole new world for you in terms of being able to travel. So I think that our lives are like chapters in a book. What would you title this current chapter in your life?
Letting go of the riffraff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, riffraff, that's things and or people.
Things and or people. I'm just getting rid of all the negativity around me.
Yeah.
And just kind of gathering positive people, positive energy, positive things around me.
Little soulful spring cleaning.
Exactly. So I'm going to be getting into a better frame of mind.
Wow. What was the spark for that? What was the house spark for that?
I came to the realization, gosh, this year that I've had too much drama in my life, and a lot of it was caused. Exactly. And I came to the realization that it wasn't really caused by me, but it was being caused by some of the people I was surrounding myself with. So, I'm kind of, getting rid of all of the drama.
Yeah. It's okay to say no.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You're a very, I can tell you're a very giving spirit, and we're kindred spirits, I think, in that way. And we always want to kind of go, okay, yeah, I'll listen to all your troubles. But sometimes you got to just say, no, I don't want to do that. But here's another option for you. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I'm getting to the age where I just can't take on other people's troubles anymore.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah. People just want to open up that can of worms and take you fishing, and I'm like, no thanks.
Yep, exactly. No more. Not going to do that anymore. So
good for you.
I'm going to surround myself with positive people. And,
so, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to see Get Rid of the Riffraff on your bookshelves near you. So pick up a copy. Chris and I had a meeting prior to the show, and we printed up some early copies, and we're going to give one copy to each one of our audience members this evening. Get Rid of the Riffraff by Chris-Lavoie.
That's right.
So that's our little Oprah and sort of Oprah moment where we like to, instead of a car, we give books, because I want to encourage people to read. Now, our next segment, Chris, that I'm sure you're going to join me on here. This is called Just the Tip.
Okay.
Okay, and how many times have you said that in your life? Now, Just the Tip. Yeah.
Just the tip, just the seed.
Right, Just the Tip is a how-to moment where Radio Man of Steel, Chris-Lavoie, and your host, MTG, will give you just enough info to get you started. Now, after all, Chris and I are entertainment prostitutes. We're not whores. We don't just give it all away for free. When we say Just the Tip, Chris, we mean it. Most days.
Right.
Now, Chris, when you get up in the morning, you get up at
2:30.
No, you go to bed at
stupid o'clock, and I get up at insane o'clock.
Thank you. You played that very well. Now, you did very well in your tidy blackies. Now, our featured show tip this week are 10 signs you might be a liberal. Now, this list, Chris, came from conservativemonitor.com. Are you familiar with that particular website?
Conservativemonitor.com, no.
Okay, now, because who knows comedy better than your far right-wing conservative friends, as we know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
name me one successful conservative comedian.
Well, that's exactly. So we're going to put them to the test tonight. So you're going to be our Swedish judge, even though you're French. You're going to be, because the Swedish judge has always been known to be the hardest one in terms of scoring. So here's the 10 signs you might be a liberal. The first sign: if you went to prep school, got your bachelor's, master's, doctorate, you teach in a university, and still imagine that you know all about the real world, then you might be a liberal.
That's
what are they trying to tell us?
I give that a 1.
I think hilarious. You give that a 1? Yeah, it's not very, very high.
I give that a 1.
Why would you score that so low?
My roommate is a hardcore libertarian and a registered Republican, and he has a Juris Doctorate. So, yeah, that's not funny, and it's not true.
Right. And, what is their fascination with sites like this and people or of this political persuasion? What is their fascination with just thinking that an education is a negative thing?
I have no idea, because they see it as indoctrination, I guess.
No. Because facts are scary. So
exactly. Facts have a liberal bias.
Yeah, obviously you do. Yeah. It's the number 2, 3, numbers are scary. They're real. So now when hooligans, now number 2, and I love the language in this one, when hooligans throw rocks at police, you call it civil disobedience. When Republicans protest a fixed election, you call it a riot. Do you know any hooligans?
I don't know any hooligans. I don't traffic in hooligans. I don't.
You know,
No,
by the tone of your voice, I believe you. I don't even have to do. We don't have. Yeah.
Yeah, that statement kind of confuses me.
Yeah. Who are the hooligans, and what year did they write? I think they grabbed that from a 1938 textbook from the school that they went to, and they graduated in '84.
Ruffians and hooligans and
hooligans, because they didn't get new ragamuffins. Yeah, because they didn't get any new textbooks for like 80 years in that school that this person went through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm like, hooligans.
Fixed elections?
And tell me, where is the Republican fixed elections they're talking about? Where?
I have no idea.
Yeah, where was this riot? Yeah, okay. Now this is number 3. You're going to love it because I'm going to point something out. You think free love is chic, spelled S-H-E-I-K, and still wonder why your third marriage just went down the toilet.
Did they really spell it like chic, as in shake?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart hurts.
It does, doesn't it? It does make your heart hurt a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
No, did they spell shake like that, you think, because they're trying to make some kind of Arab comment as well as trying to be funny?
I hope not, because that's kind of racist, too.
You think? But I thought, wow. All right, we'll let that one simmer for a little while. Number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know these are a little bit troubling to you, so you might want to put a robe on. You know, you were feeling really nice and free in your tidy blackies, but now I can sense a little bit of uncomfortableness now. You feel a little bit exposed. Now, number 4, whenever an intern disappears in Washington, you say it's all about sex. Like...
an intern how old is this list? Are they referring to Chandra Levy?
Right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and they're kind of making light of it, like, ew.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do they even want to bring up the dead intern that was found in Joe Scarborough's office when he was a Republican congressman?
I think they're going to.
Just saying.
Just saying. Thank you, Chris-Lavoie. So, what is your middle name? Do you not say it out loud?
It's Robert.
Christopher Robert Lavoie. Oh, that's nice and strong. Oh, that suits you. That really suits you. Ted's quivering right now. I can tell. And even though we can't hear him, I know he's quivering right now. Just he's going to be writing that love letters in like his diary to Christopher Robert Lavoie. Yes. And now number 5.
Don't forget to stop the I with a heart.
That, of course, iHeartRadio, which you can also catch the Stephanie Miller Show on. Okay, so I'm going to plug you as well. And that was really about the show, not a sexual innuendo. So number 5, your father wore flowers and your mother wore army boots in the 60s. I think that one deserves a clap from the audience. Now, what kind of innuendo do you think they're suggesting with your father wore flowers and your mother wore army boots in the 60s?
They're kind of making a gay joke there, aren't they?
I don't know, Chris. I don't know. I'm thinking they might be pushing the gay envelope there, but
it's transgender envelope maybe. Transgender joke? Wow,
that's current. That's very current.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm just like, I don't know why this material doesn't work on the stage and why they don't have a sexy conservative comedy tour.
Exactly.
Now number 6
the only conservative comedian I can think of is Dennis Miller, and he hasn't been funny since since he turned conservative. Yeah.
It's hard for me even to hear the sound of his voice. It's tough. He's not funny.
I have a theory as to why conservatives aren't successful comedians, because comedy has to come from the underdog, and it pokes up. Pokes up at those above. It pokes fun at those above. Whereas conservatives tend to poke fun at those below them, which is inherently not funny. It's just mean.
It's like kicking a dog or a cat or pushing a kid.
Exactly.
It's not funny.
Exactly. Right.
Unless the kid deserved it.
Right. And if you're poking fun at those above you, those in power, that's funny.
Yes. And if you think Al Gore won the election in 2000, that's funny too. That's number 6.
If you think Al,
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
10
Okay.
signs you might be a liberal. If you think Al Gore won the election in 2000, that's number 6.
well,
Pretty-
he won the popular vote.
Well, hello.
And
What's
he
that
would,
mean?
and he would have won the recount in Florida had the Supreme Court not stopped it. But besides that,
Yeah, besides that.
Yeah.
I'm going to blaze through the last 4 here, and you give me a roundup of what you think in terms of comedy, what kind of impact, and if you might take some of these for the next tour stop for the liberal comedy tour. If you can let me borrow some of these and switch them around. Now, number 7, if you think the government can solve your personal problems, then you might be a liberal. Number 8, you think the Second Amendment is the right to keep and bear a white flag. Number 9. Whenever you hear Rush Limbaugh's name mentioned, you foam at the mouth and your knee jerks. And number 10, if you eat granola bars for breakfast, salad green. I think they looked at your lunch schedule. If you eat granola bars for breakfast, salad greens for lunch, quiche for supper, and then wake up hungry in the middle of the night and eat a whole quart of ice cream and still think you're eating healthy, then you might be a liberal.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Collectively, I give all of that a 1.
I think you're a very generous judge when it comes
Thank you.
when it comes to the score that you gave for those. But if anybody cares to kind of to look up the source behind this comedy, it is from www.conservativemonitor.com. And like I said earlier, who knows comedy better than the far right wing conservatives, as Chris will tell you. And yeah, I gave them a solid 1, and I think at least in effort, they put little effort, but some effort into it.
Sure.
So now we're going to go. We're going to zoom right ahead, and thank you for playing along. And we're going to play some music. We're going to play some music now because we have our Jukebox 5 segment now, and we're going to play a little game of it. And I'm going to play. These are music themes from television shows. Now it's not like the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but I've mixed it up a little bit. These are dance remixes.
Okay.
So let's see if you can tell what our first clip is.
X-Files.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Did you look at my notes?
Nope. I watch a lot of TV.
No, were you a big X-Files fan?
You know what? I wasn't. I wasn't a big X-Files fan, but but it was kind of an iconic theme song. So,
have you ever been to Comic-Con? Are you a geek in that sense?
I've never been to Comic-Con, but my associate producer Travis has been to every Comic-Con since it started.
Wow. Does he wear does he wear costumes to work?
No, he doesn't wear costumes to work, but he always wears like a superhero shirt or a My Little Pony shirt. He's a brony.
Oh, My Little Pony.
Yep.
You think he has those little? Is he a Furby? You think he wears one of those little outfits and like little romantic excursions? No.
No, he doesn't do that. No.
You say that like you know for sure. So I'm happy to know that. Okay. Because I don't want anybody dressed up as a chipmunk doing things like. Well, you know what I'm saying.
No.
Okay. Here's our second. You guessed that one pretty fast. So So breathe this one in.
Okay.
Take a moment. And here you go.
Okay.
What would you do if you had $1 million?
I'll tell you what I'd do, man. 2 chicks at the same time, man.
Any guess?
It sounds familiar, but I can't put this on.
Lumberg, doctor.
That is from The Office.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that good?
Okay.
That's by Forecast. Yeah, that's a good remix. If I'd played it earlier in the song, you probably would have gotten it right away. So I said, oh no, I got to find a segment that's a little bit more obscure because I had a feeling that you were going to be really good because of the odd hours that you keep. Well, odd,
right?
Because get up, go to bed at stupid o'clock and wake up at insane o'clock. So
exactly.
Yeah. So here is the next one, but I think this one you may get fast. So just just a moment. Any guess?
Huh. I don't know.
He works at a police station
Uh-huh.
trying to solve murders. And
You know what? I don't
serial
watch
killers.
procedural.
Oh, really?
Dexter?
Yes, Dexter. Yep.
Okay, I do watch Dexter. Okay, all right.
Apparently not closely enough.
I guess not, but I love the opening credits of Dexter.
Oh my God! I have a hard time watching it, and then I can't have breakfast the next morning. I have to have just cereal. I can't have ham and eggs.
Yeah.
After watching that, I can't shave or have ham and eggs. It's just
right.
It's so brilliantly done, but it's like it's a little creepy. It's a little creepy.
Yeah, it is a little creepy.
Okay.
Yeah, making breakfast has never been creepier.
If you want to be a vegetarian for a little while longer, watch the opening credits and then the rest of the show, and you will be well on your way. So here we go.
Yeah.
Here's another one. This one's probably going to be a little more on the nose, so breathe it in. Enjoy it.
All right. Oh God, it sounds so familiar.
And we experienced a great loss connected to the show just recently, and I think he was in Italy at the time.
Oh, The Sopranos.
Yeah, James Gandolfini. Okay.
I never watched it.
Oh, you've never seen any of it?
I might have seen like part of an episode here and there.
Okay, I would encourage you when you have the time, and when do you have the time? But just get the set. Watch it from the beginning. It's just, I'm telling you, there is one of the season finales. There is a fight in the kitchen between James Gandolfini and Edie Falco. With their two characters. It was some of the most raw, honest television I think I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was just so brilliant. Yeah. So. Yeah, some really brilliant stuff and some great characters. And then the woman who played his mom died after the first couple of seasons. But I tell you, it was just some of the best television you'll ever see. So, and I did not expect to like a show like that at all.
Right. Huh. Okay.
So, yeah, I think you'll dig it. Okay, and one more, which is my favorite show right now on television. And it's, like you, it's very, very sexy. So here it goes. Oh, you're good. Well, it's hard to mistake that one, but that's another one that's got a creepy opening.
As soon as those two opening sequences were done by the same company, actually.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. But I absolutely love that. But I know, I mean, so that was we covered I think X-Files, The Office, Dexter, Sopranos, and True Blood, and those are some of there has been some of my favorite shows that are either currently on television or have been on television, and I think there's some memorable theme songs as well, because that's sort of like some of the stamps that are on our lives through various periods. Being pulp culture oriented, go to music and entertainment, and so it was great to do that, and you did pretty well, not bad.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 out of 5. That's okay.
Well, Chris, you did better. You scored better than the conservatives did with their humor.
That is true. I'll take that as a win.
So, I just want to thank you so much. I'm going to end the show with I'm going to read a little excerpt. I always end the show with Tail Ends, Tale, and there are excerpts from books, magazines, short stories, or comedy sketches, you name it. I loved being read to as a kid, so I like to bookend the show by reading to the audience. And I'm going to read an excerpt tonight from Queering the Way, which was edited by Darren Hagen. and a particular excerpt called "The Confession" by Darren M. McCloskey. But before I do, I just want to bid you adieu and thank you so much for wearing your tidy blackies and being revealing in more ways than one to us tonight. And I'm so appreciative of the work that you do in Progressive Talk Radio, and the balance that you bring to that particular show and the professionalism that you bring. And it means a lot to me how supportive you are in coming on to my show tonight and supporting my dreams, and being a part of this world as well. So,
I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, you're a class act, and
thank you.
You're a beautiful person inside and out, and I feel very honored to know you. So,
and
thank
you as
you,
well.
my friend. Thank you, and keep changing the world one conservative at a time.
I will keep trying to do that.
Okay, you're lovely. So, I hope to see you soon.
You got it. Absolutely.
Okay, and let's have Ted bid you adieu before he passes out. Ted,
you get.
Say good night.
You left me with the perfect vision tonight, Mr. Lavoie. Before I go to bed.
I do what I can, Ted.
That dirty
I'm hanging on your every word.
I love it.
And I'll hear you tomorrow.
And he'll hear you tomorrow on the show.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's bring on Christopher to say goodnight. Christopher?
Yes, sir.
You want to say goodnight to our featured guest this evening?
Yes, good night. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed hearing you.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Christopher. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Chris, you're a lovely man, and I'll see you soon.
You got it. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Okay.
Get some rest. See you in the morning.
I will. Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. To end the show, we're going to end with our tail end segment. This is from Queering the Way, and the Loud and Queer anthology, edited by Darren Hagen. And this is an excerpt called The Confession by Darren M. McCloskey. Father, why did you give me that look? Son, that look after Mass yesterday. As you were leaving, you gave me this strange look. Son, this is a confessional, not a confrontational. Would you like to make a confession? A confession? When was your last confession? About 20 years ago. 20? About that, yes. Perhaps you should have made an appointment. An appointment? Yes. I can do that? If it's necessary, and in your case, I think it is. Wait, I just want to know why you gave me that look. That look? I'm not sure. You remember you gave me a strange look and then shook your head as if I weren't supposed to be in church. Wait. Why are you laughing? I think it may be your conscience. My conscience? It might be telling you something. So I made an appointment. Breathe. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I confess to Almighty God and to you, Father, it's been 3 days since my last confession. 3 days? Son, that last visit was not a confession. No, you confessed nothing. But I was in the confessional. Being in the confessional and confessing are two different things. Like going to a dance and not dancing? No, son, it's like going into a confessional, not confessing. Oh, so let's try again. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. And I confess to Almighty God and to you, Father, I have never ever confessed before. Never? But earlier you said, I know, but I realize I've never done a true confession before. Okay, then let's get started. Son? Yes? Do you have anything you'd like to confess? Perhaps you need time to examine your conscience. Examine my conscience? Yes. Take time to go over your past and see where you have sinned? I can do that? Yes, but not here. He pointed to the door. And for 2 days I wept and gnashed my teeth. Breathe. This selection, again, was from Queering the Way, the Loud and Queer anthology, edited by Darren Hagen. Edmonton's loud and queer cabarets have been blazing trails and shining a light on queer arts and culture for 20 years. Their showcase has debuted more than 300 pieces of stunning performance and art from both established and emerging talent alike. And from the Loud and Queer Cabaret archives, This was a selection of some of the most memorable pieces, from monologues to cabarets to one-act plays. So you can look that up online, Queering the Way, edited by Darren Hagen, Hagen. So I want to thank everyone for sticking around this evening, for coming and joining us here at the OMTG show. Thank you to our show's producer, Christopher Taylor, our top of the show sidekick, our favorite Columbus, Ohio chemist, Ted Mayberry, and our featured guest, Man of Steel. I'm going to bring Ted back on here for a second. Our featured guest, Man of Steel himself, Chris-Lavoie, who Ted loved sweating over all evening. And for more information about our shows, sidekicks, guests, and topics, just go to lnrradio.com. And remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and share with everyone you know. Stalk us if you like. What are you giggling, Ted? I can hear you. Ted, I can hear you. And thanks for tuning into OMTG on the LNR Radio Network. We are broadcasting live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's make a date. And Ted is talking while I'm talking, which I think is really a lot of fun. But that's what we're doing here. Ted, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. I love you so much. And, you know, it's all about friendship. It's all about sharing. It's mentoring and opening up ourselves and growing and becoming, hopefully, better people and making a difference in the world around us. So thank you so much, Ted, for your beautiful laughter and your wicked laughter that you shared tonight as well. So good night, everybody, and come back next week. Actually, next week we're going to air a repeat. I haven't decided which show that's going to rerun again, but we'll be back live on the 25th. So be back for that, and we'll have a good time together. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.